Imagine holding a coin in your hand that looks so ordinary, so small, so simple, and yet it has the potential to change your life forever. What if I told you that a single penny, a Lincoln 1959 1-cent coin, could be worth thousands, even millions of dollars today? Yes, that tiny copper coin hiding in your drawer, sitting in an old jar, or lost in a forgotten box, could actually be a treasure disguised as pocket change. For the next few minutes, stay with me because what you're about to learn may make you look at every penny you've ever owned in a completely different way. The year 1959 marked a historic shift in the design of the Lincoln cent. Before this year, the penny had the famous wheat ears design on the reverse. But in 1959, to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 50th anniversary of the Lincoln cent, the U.S. Mint replaced the wheat ears with the iconic Lincoln Memorial design. This change made the 1959 penny not just a coin but a piece of history. The first of a new era in American coinage. That alone makes it special, but rarity, minting errors, and condition are what transform a common coin into a $1-million gem. Most 1959 Lincoln cents were struck in large quantities. Over 1 billion coins were produced at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Because of that, the average 1959 penny you find in circulation today is worth only face value. But here's where the story takes an extraordinary turn. A handful of rare varieties and errors from 1959 have surfaced that have stunned collectors and investors around the world. One of the most legendary examples is the 1959 D penny with a wheat reverse, a coin that should not exist. According to official mint records, wheat pennies stopped being struck in 1958. And starting in 1959, only the new Lincoln Memorial reverse was minted. But somehow at least one 1959 penny with a Denver mint mark and a wheat reverse slipped out. When this coin surfaced at auction, it created controversy, disbelief, and eventually astronomical value. Collectors call this coin the Holy Grail of Lincoln cents. Imagine holding what was thought to be impossible, a bridge between two eras of coinage. Experts debated its authenticity for years, but when it was confirmed, its value skyrocketed. Today, such a coin can command a price in the hundreds of thousands, even reaching over $1 million depending on condition and demand. If you find one, your life could change in an instant. But that's not the only rare variety. Even among regular 1959 pennies, there are double die errors, missed strikes, and off-center coins that carry significant value. For example, a double die obverse, where the date or the word liberty appears doubled under magnification, can be worth hundreds to thousands of dollars. Off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing due to a misalignment in the minting process, can also fetch high prices, especially if the date remains visible. These small mistakes are what turn ordinary coins into extraordinary collectible. Condition is another major factor in determining value. A 1959 Lincoln penny in circulated condition is usually worth very little, but in uncirculated mint state condition, it can be valued at far more. For instance, a 1959 penny graded MS-67 red by a professional grading service can sell for over $5,000. Why? Because collectors and investors crave pristine, untouched examples that reflect the coin as it looked when it first left the mint. The fewer blemishes, the higher the grade, and the higher the price. The Lincoln cent is also deeply symbolic, carrying the image of one of America's greatest leaders, Abraham Lincoln. Introduced in 1909. The Lincoln cent was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person rather than an allegorical figure like Liberty. This was a bold move, and it set the stage for future coin design. By 1959, when the Memorial reverse was introduced, the coin represented not just Lincoln the man, but also Lincoln the legacy, the president who preserved the Union, ended slavery, and left an unshakable mark on history. Owning a 1959 penny connects you not only to numismatic history, but also to America's cultural story. The rarity of certain 1959 pennies has made them a centerpiece of coin collecting shows, auction houses, and private collections. Some stories even sound like modern-day treasure hunts. Imagine someone digging through an old jar of coins left behind by a relative and discovering a 1959 double die worth thousands, or a casual coin roll hunter who spends just $25 at the bank, only to find a rare error coin tucked away among ordinary cents. These stories fuel the passion of collectors and prove that hidden treasures still exist in plain sight. Beyond rarity and condition, demand drives the value of these coins. The Lincoln Cent series is one of the most widely collected coin series in the world. From children starting their first penny folders to advanced collectors chasing the rarest varieties, nearly everyone has a connection to the penny. This enormous demand means that rare examples command fierce bidding wars at auction. The 1959 D Wheat reverse cent, for instance, doesn't just carry value, it carries legend. Owning it means holding a piece of numismatic mythology. If you're holding on to a 1959 penny, the first step is to examine it carefully. Look for the mint mark. Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, while Denver coins have a small D under the date. Check for signs of doubling under magnification. Study the condition. Is the luster bright and red, or has it turned brown over time? A penny that looks shiny and new is always worth more. And most importantly, check the reverse design. If by some miracle your 1959 cent has wheat ears instead of the memorial, you might just be looking at a life-changing discovery. Stories like these are why the coin collecting world remains so fascinating. It's not just about metal and design, it's about history, mistakes, rarity, and the thrill of the hunt. Every penny has a story, but some pennies tell a story so rare, so incredible, that they change lives. The 1959 Lincoln Cent is a perfect example. Common in one sense, priceless in another. So the next time you come across an old penny, don't dismiss it as pocket change. Don't toss it into a jar without a second thought. That little coin could hold secrets of history, mistakes of the mint, and value beyond your wildest dreams. The Lincoln 1959 1-cent coin is proof that even the smallest, most ordinary-looking objects can carry extraordinary worth. And who knows, maybe the coin sitting in your hand right now is the million-dollar treasure that will rewrite your future. Imagine holding in your hand a simple copper coin that looks like just another penny, but in reality, it has the power to change your entire life. A coin that was struck over 4 decades ago, forgotten in pockets, drawers, and piggy banks. Yet today, collectors are willing to pay thousands, even millions of dollars for the right piece. This is the story of the 1978 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a small piece of American history that could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Don't underestimate its size or its color. It might just be the ticket to your financial breakthrough. The Lincoln Cent has been a staple of American coinage since 1909, when it was first introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1978, this coin had already become a familiar presence in everyday life. Struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, the 1978 penny carried the same design most Americans had grown accustomed to. Lincoln's dignified profile on the obverse, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, designed by Frank Gaspareau. What most people don't realize, however, is that coins minted in 1978 were part of a transitional period in U.S. coinage, and certain variations, minting errors and conditions, have turned ordinary pennies into treasures. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1978 Lincoln Cent is that it was among the last years when pennies were made of nearly pure copper. From 1909 until 1982, pennies were composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving them a distinctive weight and value. With the rise in copper prices in the late 1970s, these small coins were actually worth more than 1 cent in metal value alone. This historical context is crucial because it explains why many collectors today specifically seek out pre-1982 copper pennies. The 1978 cent stands firmly in this category, and for collectors who understand its significance, the value of pristine high-grade examples skyrockets. Condition plays one of the most important roles in determining the value of any coin, and the 1978 penny is no different. Circulated coins are generally only worth face value or slightly above it, due to their abundance, but uncirculated or proof versions can command extraordinary sums. For instance, a 1978 Lincoln cent graded MS-67 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC is exceptionally rare. Coins with that level of preservation, no scratches, no wear, and perfectly sharp details are nearly impossible to find in circulation. Because of their rarity, collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars for these gems. In some cases, bidding wars at auctions have driven prices into five-figure territory, making a single penny worth more than a luxury car. Beyond condition, mint errors are another major factor that can turn an ordinary 1978 penny into a fortune. During the minting process, mistakes sometimes occurred: off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planches, and even wrong metal strikes. For example, a 1978 penny with a dramatic off-center strike that still shows a clear date and Lincoln's image could easily sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Similarly, a double die error, where the design elements appear duplicated or shadowed, makes the coin instantly rare and valuable. In the world of coin collecting, errors are not flaws. They are treasures that collectors seek with passion. The San Francisco Mint produced proof coins in 1978, struck with specially polished dies to create a mirror-like finish. These coins were not intended for circulation, but sold directly to collectors. While many proof coins remain in good condition, perfect examples graded PR70 are extremely rare. Collectors prize them highly, and their values soar well above standard proofs. For someone who unknowingly inherited a collection from a family member, it's possible that one of these rare proof coins is sitting untouched in an album worth thousands of dollars. The historical context of 1978 also adds weight to this penny's story. America was in a period of transition. Social, political, and economic shifts were shaping the country. The penny, while seemingly insignificant, was tied to these broader changes. The debate over whether to continue making coins from copper foreshadowed the shift in 1982 to copper-plated zinc, altering the penny forever. Collectors often view the 1978 cent as one of the last true copper relics, a link to an era before the modern economy reshaped coinage. This narrative increases its appeal and value, especially for those who see coin collecting not just as a hobby, but as a way of preserving history. It's also worth noting that many 1978 pennies remain undiscovered in circulation. Unlike silver coins or large denomination currency, pennies are rarely scrutinized. Millions of people handle them daily without ever realizing their hidden potential. This creates a fascinating opportunity for treasure hunters, because rare varieties could be hiding in plain sight. Imagine finding a double-die 1978 penny in your change, only to discover later that it's worth thousands. Stories like these continue to inspire people to search, because the possibility of striking it rich from a humble penny is real. Over the years, auction results have proven the incredible value of these coins. High-grade 1978 Lincoln cents have sold for prices exceeding $5,000, and rare error coins can reach even higher. The world of numismatics is fueled by scarcity, condition, and demand, and the 1978 penny checks all these boxes when the right variation is found. This is why collectors and investors alike keep their eyes open for them, and why even a small coin tucked away in a forgotten jar could represent a hidden fortune. When you look at a 1978 Lincoln cent, you're not just looking at a coin. You're holding a piece of history, a symbol of enduring value, and potentially a life-changing discovery. It reminds us that wealth isn't always obvious, and that sometimes the greatest treasures are hidden in the most ordinary places. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who just stumbled upon a jar of old pennies. The 1978 Lincoln cent teaches one lesson clearly: never underestimate the power of small things. So the next time you see a penny dated 1978, don't ignore it. Don't toss it aside. Study it carefully, check for errors, and consider its condition. Because while to most people it's just 1 cent, to the right collector it could be worth thousands, even millions. That little coin could be your unexpected key to wealth, proof that history and fortune can sometimes fit in the palm of your hand. Imagine finding a small copper coin in your pocket change, something that most people would overlook, only to realize that this very coin could be worth thousands or even millions of dollars to the right collector. That's the magic behind certain pennies. And the 1977 Lincoln cent is one of those coins that hides incredible stories, rare varieties and values that can shock even experienced collectors. While most people toss pennies aside without a second thought, the truth is that some of these small copper pieces from 1977 can completely change someone's financial future. The 1977 Lincoln penny is part of a long-running series that began in 1909 when the U.S. Mint introduced the Lincoln cent to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This was the first time in U.S. history that a president's portrait appeared on circulating coinage. And over the decades, the Lincoln cent has become the longest-running design in American coinage. By 1977, the Lincoln cent was already a household coin, produced in massive quantities by the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. Yet, as with so many things in numismatics, rarity and value don't come from sheer numbers. They come from details, mistakes, and conditions that set certain coins apart. In 1977, the Lincoln cent was still being struck in a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc, a formula that had been used for decades. This makes these pennies heavier and richer in color compared to the post-1982 cents, which were changed to a primarily zinc core with just a thin copper plating. Because of this, collectors today prize pre-1982 Lincoln cents, not only for nostalgia but also for their intrinsic copper value. However, the 1977 penny has more to offer than just its metal. It carries stories of mint errors, condition rarity, and collector demand that make some examples worth extraordinary amounts. Billions of these coins were produced across the 3 mints, meaning the vast majority you come across in circulation are worth only face value. A well-worn 1977 penny found in your pocket is usually just a cent, nothing more. But the key lies in spotting the exceptions. The error coins, the high-grade uncirculated examples, and the varieties that collectors chase. Some of these coins have sold at auctions for thousands, and the rarest ones, in perfect condition or with striking mistakes, can cross into life-changing value territory. For the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark was placed on the coins, and over 4.4 billion pennies were struck there in The Denver Mint produced over 4.1 billion coins marked with the D Mint mark. The San Francisco Mint contributed over 3 million coins, but these were proof issues, specially made for collectors with mirror-like finishes. Among these billions of coins, tiny differences and rare minting errors create the value that collectors are so eager to pay for. One of the most desirable categories of valuable 1977 Lincoln cents is mint error. Errors can occur when something goes wrong during the striking process, like an off-center strike, double die, or a coin being struck on the wrong planchet. For example, some 1977 pennies show double die obverse errors, where Lincoln's features, the lettering, or the date appear doubled. These coins, especially when the doubling is strong and visible without magnification, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Off-center strikes are another type of error, where the design is not properly aligned with the blank planchet. The more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the value. Collectors love dramatic errors because they stand out, making the coin unique. Another fascinating error is when a 1977 cent was struck on the wrong metal planchet. Occasionally, a blank intended for a dime or foreign coin slipped into the presses, and the resulting coin shows the Lincoln design on an unexpected size or metal. These coins are extremely rare, and when authenticated they can reach prices in the tens of thousands. A famous example is when cents were struck on aluminum or even silver-colored planches. By mistake, these coins are some of the most valuable and sought after by error collectors. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint also play an important role in the 1977 Lincoln cent story. These coins were never meant for circulation, but for collectors who purchased proof sets. They were struck multiple times with polished dies, giving them a beautiful mirror-like feel and frosted design. While most proof coins are common, collectors hunt for those that grade at the absolute top levels, such as PR70 Deep Cameo. These coins, when certified by grading companies, can fetch thousands of dollars because of their perfection. Even the slightest flaw, a hairline scratch or tiny spot, can lower the grade, which is why perfect proof coins are so rare and expensive. High-grade uncirculated 1977 pennies from the Philadelphia and Denver mints also command strong premium. A coin fresh from a roll showing bright luster with no wear may only be worth $1 or $2 to casual collectors. But when it grades at the very top, MS-67 or MS-68, it becomes a trophy piece. Population reports from grading companies like PCGS and NGC show that only a handful of coins reach these lofty grades, making them highly competitive at auction. In fact, record sales for top-graded 1977 pennies have exceeded $7,000 to $10,000. And with rising demand, such coins could eventually command even higher amounts. What truly captivates people, though, is the possibility that a common coin might hold a hidden fortune. Imagine going through a jar of pennies in your home and spotting a 1977 cent with strong doubling in the date, or a dramatic off-center strike. That single coin, overlooked by millions, could be your ticket to thousands of dollars. And in numismatics, surprises happen all the time. People regularly discover rare coins in pocket change, in old family savings jars, or in rolls from the bank. Collectors love the 1977 Lincoln penny because it represents that blend of commonality and mystery. Most of these coins are still only worth 1 cent. But within the billions struck lies a handful of extraordinary pieces that command prices worthy of million-dollar attention. While it's unlikely that an individual 1977 cent would reach the 7-figure mark on its own, the collective story of error coins, rare varieties, and top-graded examples creates a million-dollar market around this date. Together, the demand for these coins is so strong that it builds a market worth millions, fueled by passionate collectors and investors who know the value of rarity. For anyone interested in coin collecting or just curious about the value of change in their pocket, the 1977 penny is a reminder that the smallest objects can carry immense value. The key is knowledge, knowing what to look for, understanding how condition impacts value, and recognizing when you have something rare. A magnifying glass, patience, and attention to detail can make all the difference in spotting that special coin. The Lincoln Cent series remains one of the most collected coin series in U.S. history, and the 1977 penny is a perfect example of why. It shows that even in modern times, when billions of coins are produced, true rarity and value still exist. Every year, auction houses list 1977 pennies among their highlights, and stories continue to emerge of ordinary people discovering extraordinary coins. That thrill of discovery, the possibility that the next coin you examine could be the one worth thousands, is what keeps collectors searching. So, the next time you come across a penny from 1977, don't dismiss it as just another cent. Look closely. Examine the date, the mint mark, the details of Lincoln's face, and the lettering. Check if it is perfectly centered or shows signs of doubling. If it's shiny and free of wear, it might be an uncirculated treasure. If it has a strange error, it could be worth a fortune. A single penny might not seem like much, but in the world of coin collecting, a penny can be priceless. And the 1977 Lincoln Cent is living proof of that truth. Somewhere out there, hidden in pockets, jars, and collections, are coins waiting to be discovered. Coins that can turn the ordinary into the extraordinary and a single cent into a collector's dream. Imagine holding a simple penny in your hand. One that looks ordinary to almost everyone else, yet secretly it could be worth thousands or even millions of dollars. This isn't a fantasy. It's the reality of certain rare Lincoln 1982 1-cent coins. In a world where most people overlook spare change lying around in drawers, jars, or old wallets, some individuals have stumbled upon life-changing treasures hidden in the form of these copper and zinc coins. The story of the 1982 Lincoln cent is one of mystery, transition, and the kind of hidden value that makes collectors' hearts race. If you've ever wondered whether the coins in your pocket could transform into a small fortune, the 1982 Lincoln penny is the perfect example. The year 1982 was a turning point in U.S. coinage history. For decades, the Lincoln cent had been struck in a copper composition. Since 1909, when the first Lincoln cent was introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, copper was the main metal used, but by the late 1970s and early 1980s, rising copper prices made it more expensive to produce a penny than the coin's face value itself. It simply wasn't practical for the U.S. Mint to keep producing them at a loss. So in 1982, the U.S. Mint made the decision to change the metal composition of the Lincoln cent from 95% copper and 5% zinc to a cheaper version consisting of a mostly zinc core with just a thin copper plating. This change seems simple on the surface, but it led to one of the most fascinating coin varieties in modern U.S. history. During the transition year of 1982, both copper and zinc pennies were struck. This means there are 1982 Lincoln cents made of solid copper, and others made of zinc. Even more intriguing, within that year the mint produced multiple design varieties, including both large date and small date versions, across different mints. Collectors now recognize at least 7 distinct types of the 1982 penny, each with its own unique characteristics. The most famous and valuable of all is the elusive 1982D small date copper penny. This particular variety has been the stuff of legends among collectors. While billions of zinc pennies were produced and millions of copper ones as well, the official records show that no 1982D small date copper cents should exist. Yet a few were struck, likely by accident, making them extraordinarily rare. Finding one of these coins is like finding a needle in a haystack, but with the potential of becoming a millionaire from a coin that looks like it belongs in any ordinary pocket. To truly understand the rarity, you need to know how to tell the difference. First, the weight of the coin is crucial. A copper Lincoln cent from 1982 weighs about 3.111 grams, while a zinc one weighs only 2.5 grams. This difference may seem tiny, but with a good digital scale it's easy to spot. Next, collectors look closely at the date. The small date variety has a thinner, more delicate look to the numbers, especially the 2, which appears to curve higher and more gracefully than the large date style. At the Denver Mint, most pennies struck that year were zinc, so a small date copper version wasn't supposed to exist at all. That's what makes it so astonishing. Imagine for a moment digging through your old coin jar and discovering one of these rare 1982D small date copper cents. Stories have emerged of collectors finding them by accident, and auctions have proven just how valuable they are. Some examples have sold for over $18,000, and experts believe if the right coin in the right condition were to surface, it could command hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. That's how much the demand and rarity have fueled excitement around this coin. The 1982 Lincoln penny isn't just about one variety. The year gave birth to a confusing but exciting set of coins that collectors love to chase. There are large date copper, small date copper, large date zinc, and small date zinc, all minted in Philadelphia and Denver. That's why coin enthusiasts often keep multiple versions in their collection, just to have the complete set from this transitional year. Each penny carries a story of the U.S. Mint's struggle to adapt to economic changes, making them historical artifacts as much as collectible, even for those not chasing the elusive 1982 small-date copper penny. The other varieties hold significant value in higher grades. Coins in pristine uncirculated condition, with sharp details and full mint luster, can easily fetch hundreds of dollars, and sometimes thousands, depending on the specific variety and grade. What might seem like a common penny can transform into a high-value treasure when preserved well. What makes these coins even more appealing is their accessibility. Unlike ancient coins or foreign rarities that are nearly impossible to find in circulation, the 1982 Lincoln cents are modern enough that they still turn up in change today. Anyone can stumble upon one without even realizing it. This makes the thrill of hunting for them even more exciting, because the possibility of finding treasure exists in your own pocket or change jar. The Lincoln cent has always been symbolic in American history. Featuring the image of President Abraham Lincoln, the coin is a daily reminder of one of the nation's most revered leaders. The 1982 issue, however, goes beyond symbolism. It represents change, adaptation, and mystery. It's a coin that tells a story not just about economics, but also about the accidents and surprises that make numismatics so fascinating. For new collectors, the 1982 penny serves as a perfect entry point. It teaches valuable lessons about varieties, minting processes, and the importance of condition in determining value. For seasoned collectors, it remains one of the most exciting challenges to hunt down, with the allure of finding that one impossible variety that could make history. So the next time you come across an old penny, don't dismiss it as worthless. That small coin could be a piece of history, a rare treasure hiding in plain sight, and perhaps even the key to a fortune. The 1982 Lincoln cent proves that even the smallest, most ordinary things can hold extraordinary value, and in the world of rare coins, it stands as one of the most fascinating and potentially life-changing discoveries ever minted. Imagine holding a small, copper-colored coin in your hand. Something that most people would simply glance at and spend without a second thought. Now imagine that very coin being worth not just a few cents, not just a few dollars, but potentially thousands, or even millions, because of its rarity, its errors, and its place in American history. This is the reality for certain Lincoln 1981 1-cent coins. A piece of U.S. currency that hides a story far greater than its face value. Collectors all over the world hunt for this coin, and if you have one sitting unnoticed in your change jar, you might just be holding onto a hidden treasure. The Lincoln cent has been an iconic part of American coinage since 1909, when it was first introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Over the decades, it has gone through several design changes and compositional adjustments, but it has always remained a coin that Americans interact with daily. The 1981 Lincoln cent holds a unique place in that timeline because it marks the end of an important era in U.S. coin production. Up until 1981, Lincoln cents were made primarily of copper. But, beginning in 1982, due to rising copper prices, the U.S. Mint changed the composition of the cent to copper-plated zinc. That means the 1981 cent was one of the very last pennies struck in solid copper alloy, making it historically significant for collectors. The standard 1981 Lincoln cent was struck in a composition of 95% copper. Each coin weighs about 3.111 grams, which is heavier than the post-1982 cents that weigh only 2.5 grams. While millions of these coins were produced across three mints, the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, the Denver Mint, marked with a D, and the San Francisco Mint, producing both business strike and proof coins. Not all coins are created equal. Some 1981 cents have unique features, minting errors, or high-grade conditions that dramatically increase their value. It is these special cases that turn a 1-cent coin into something worth thousands. And in rare scenarios, collectors estimate their value could soar into the millions, because of extreme rarity or perfect preservation. One of the most notable aspects of the 1981 Lincoln cent is the proof coins produced in San Francisco. Proof coins are struck with specially prepared dies, resulting in a sharper, shinier, and more detailed finish. In 1981, two distinct proof varieties were created, Type 1 and Type 2. The difference between these types lies in the mint mark. Type 1 proofs feature a mint mark that appears blurry or filled, while Type 2 proofs have a sharp, clear edge. Type 2 is much scarcer, and as a result, collectors place a much higher premium on them. A 1981's Type 2 proof Lincoln cent in flawless condition can fetch thousands of dollars at auction. Imagine having a coin that millions of people handled without care, but in pristine proof form it becomes a gem that serious collectors are willing to battle over. Beyond proof varieties, error coins are where the real money lies. The U.S. Mint produces billions of coins annually, and mistakes can and do happen. In 1981, several known error types exist for Lincoln cents, including off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and more. A double die error, where the design elements appear double due to misalignment during the minting process, can transform a simple penny into a coin worth thousands. Some off-center 1981 pennies, where part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't properly struck on the planchet, have sold for hundreds of dollars depending on how dramatic the error is. Collectors love these oddities because they are unique, unrepeatable, and tell the story of the minting process in a tangible way. Condition is another huge factor in determining value. A 1981 penny that has been in circulation will likely have scratches, wear, and discoloration, reducing its collector appeal. However, a coin that has been carefully preserved in mint state condition, graded by professional services, like PCGS or NGC, can be worth hundreds or even thousands. Coins graded MS67 or higher, which means they have nearly flawless surfaces, are incredibly rare. The reason for this rarity is simple. Pennies were not designed to be collected. They were meant to be so finding one that survived more than 4 decades without any significant marks or blemishes is almost miraculous. That's why collectors are willing to pay astonishing amounts for such pristine examples. The historical context of the 1981 penny also adds to its desirability. Being the last full year of copper cents, it represents a transition point in American numismatics. Copper had become too expensive, and the mint could no longer justify producing a 1-cent coin that cost more than its face value to make. The 1981 coin is a reminder of the end of an era, when coins still carried a metal composition closer to their actual worth. For many collectors, owning a 1981 penny is not just about the monetary value, it's about preserving a piece of history, a symbol of how the economy and minting practices evolved. Stories of incredible finds keep people searching. There have been reports of individuals discovering rare varieties of the 1981 Lincoln cent in old collections, change jars, or even in pocket change. One example is a collector who stumbled upon a high-grade 1981 penny, and after grading it sold for thousands at auction. Another person found a proof Type 2 in a box of coins inherited from family, which turned out to be worth more than a used car. These stories fuel the fascination and excitement, because anyone could potentially be sitting on such a treasure without knowing it. The possibility that an ordinary coin could secretly hold extraordinary value is what makes numismatics so addictive. Another reason the 1981 cent is sought after is its role in complete Lincoln cent collections. Many collectors aim to assemble sets that include every year and mint mark from 1909 to the present, since 1981 marks a pivotal point in the coin's history. It is essential for completing these sets, and when it comes to high-grade or proof coins, the competition is fierce, driving up values even further. A complete Lincoln cent collection, featuring rare 1981 proof varieties, can be worth an astonishing sum, especially when auctioned to enthusiastic bidders. But the dream of striking it rich with a 1981 penny comes down to careful observation. If you have one, check its weight to confirm it's copper. Examine the mint mark, look for errors, and consider its overall condition. A magnifying glass can help reveal doubling, die cracks, or other oddities that might increase its value. If you suspect you have something special, professional grading is the best way to authenticate and establish its true market worth. A coin that might appear ordinary to the untrained eye could be a jackpot in disguise. Collectors and investors alike are constantly scouring the market for opportunities to obtain rare auction houses, coin shows, and online marketplaces. See these coins traded regularly, with prices fluctuating based on demand, rarity, and condition. The allure of possibly owning a coin that could someday break auction records keeps the chase alive. There's always a chance that the next big discovery will involve a 1981 Lincoln cent, elevating its reputation even further. In the end, the 1981 Lincoln cent proves that value is not always about size or denomination. A tiny penny meant to represent just 1 cent in the economy can capture the imagination of collectors and investors worldwide. For some, it becomes a symbol of nostalgia, for others an investment opportunity, and for a lucky few, a ticket to life-changing wealth. That's why people continue to check their pennies, hoping to stumble across the right combination of rarity, condition, and error that turns a humble copper coin into a $1 million treasure. So the next time you find a 1981 Lincoln penny in your change, don't dismiss it as worthless. Take a closer look, because what you hold in your hand might just be more than a coin. It might be history, it might be a collector's dream, and it might even be a fortune disguised as copper. Imagine holding a coin so ordinary, so small, that most people wouldn't even glance at it twice. Yet in the world of rare coins, this very piece of copper could be worth millions. A single cent, something you might find lost between couch cushions or rolling around in your car, has the potential to completely change your life. The Lincoln 1984 1-cent coin is not just another penny. It carries secrets, errors, and variations that have made it one of the most talked about treasures in modern numismatics. Collectors around the globe chase it, auctions highlight it, and for those who discover one by chance, it becomes a life-changing stroke of luck. Today, we're going to dive deep into the story of the 1984 Lincoln penny, its background, its errors, why it's so valuable, and how it transformed from pocket change into a $1 million collectible. The Lincoln cent has been an American staple since 1909, when it was first introduced to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin replaced the Indian head cent and became the longest-running design in U.S. coinage history. By 1984, the Lincoln cent had already seen numerous transitions, including the famous switch in 1982 from a 95% copper composition to a copper-plated zinc core, which drastically changed the nature of the coin. This change made pennies lighter and cheaper to produce, but it also introduced new challenges, like susceptibility to corrosion, and more opportunities for minting errors. The 1984 penny exists in this fascinating period, when the mint was still perfecting production methods, and some coins slipped through with mistakes that now make them worth a fortune. One of the most famous and valuable varieties of the 1984 penny is the 1984 double die obverse. This is a rare mint error, where the obverse, or the front of the coin, shows clear doubling in Lincoln's portrait. If you look carefully at his ear, it appears as though he has a double ear. This isn't damage, nor is it something that happened after circulation. It is a true double die, meaning it was created during the hubbing process, when the die itself received a doubled impression. Because the die strikes millions of coins, this error repeated itself across many cents before it was caught. For collectors, this doubling is a golden ticket. While most 1984 pennies are worth just 1 cent, the double die obverse versions can command thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars depending on condition. Some pristine examples, graded at high levels, have been valued in the 6-figure range, and stories swirl in the numismatic world about rare sales that pushed into the millions for elite examples. Why does this error matter so much? In coin collecting, Rarity is everything. A normal 1984 penny has no real value beyond face value simply because billions were produced. But the double die error instantly sets a coin apart. Errors are unintentional, which means they exist in much smaller quantities than standard strike. Collectors love them because they represent a flaw in the perfection-driven process of the U.S. Mint. Add in the fact that Lincoln cents are among the most popular collectible coins in America, and you have the perfect storm for high demand. When thousands of collectors are competing for a coin that only exists in limited numbers, prices naturally skyrocket. But the double die obverse isn't the only reason the 1984 penny has a reputation for incredible value. Other minor varieties and errors have also surfaced. For example, some coins struck in 1984 show die cracks, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes. While these may not reach the astronomical prices of the double die, they still hold significant value for collectors. An off-center strike where part of Lincoln's portrait is missing can easily fetch hundreds of dollars, while a perfectly visible repunched mint mark might bring in similar sums. To the untrained eye, these errors may look like imperfections or damage, but to experts, they are marks of rarity and desirability. Condition plays a massive role in determining value. A 1984 penny with a double die obverse that has been heavily circulated might only bring a few $100s, while the same coin in uncirculated mint state condition can soar into the tens of thousands. Collectors use grading systems like the Sheldon scale, where coins are rated from 1 poor to 70 perfect mint state. The higher the grade, the sharper the details and the cleaner the surfaces, which means higher value. Some of the rarest 1984 double die obverse coins in near-perfect condition have crossed auction blocks at jaw-dropping prices, making headlines in the coin community. What makes this story even more compelling is the idea that these pennies are still out there, hidden in circulation, sitting in jars of change, or tucked away in drawers. Unlike older rarities, such as the 1909 SVDB, or the 1914 D Lincoln cent, which have largely been tracked and cataloged by collectors, the 1984 double die obverse is modern enough that many examples remain undiscovered. Everyday people still stumble upon them, sometimes by accident. There are countless stories of individuals finding a strange-looking penny in their pocket, Googling its details, and realizing they had just discovered a coin worth more than their paycheck. The possibility of $1 million penny sitting in your loose change is part of the magic that keeps collectors hunting. The U.S. Mint has never been immune to errors, especially during transitional periods. The early 1980s were particularly chaotic because of the switch in composition. While the official change happened in 1982, production challenges lingered, and quality control was not perfect. Dies wore out, mistakes went unnoticed, and a few legendary coins slipped through the crack. For the 1984 penny, this meant the birth of the double die obverse, a mistake that turned ordinary copper-plated zinc coins into valuable treasures. This is a reminder that even in modern times, mint errors continue to surprise and reward collectors. Beyond its financial value, the 1984 penny tells a story about attention to detail. A casual glance won't reveal the doubling. One needs patience, a magnifying glass, and knowledge of what to look for. This makes coin collecting not just a hobby of wealth, but also of discovery. Each coin tells a story, and the thrill comes not just from owning something valuable, but from recognizing it when others don't. The 1984 double die obverse is the perfect example of this. Millions of people handled these coins over the decades, but only those who looked closely realized they had a treasure in their hand. The fascination with coins like the 1984 penny also connects to a deeper truth about human psychology. People love the idea of hidden treasures and unexpected wealth. The thought that something as simple as a penny could be worth millions sparks hope and curiosity. It keeps people checking their change, digging through jars and scouring coin rolls from banks. For some, it becomes a lifelong passion, while for others, it's a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that changes their financial destiny. In today's market, demand for the 1984 double-die obverse penny shows no signs of slowing down. Auction houses continue to feature them prominently, and online collectors eagerly trade and bid for even moderately circulated examples. The coin has cemented its place as one of the most iconic modern rarities, right up there with other legends like the 1950s. And while most pennies remain practically worthless, the 1984 penny stands as proof that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary places. So the next time you come across a 1984 Lincoln cent, don't toss it aside. Look carefully, check Lincoln's ear, examine the details, and pay attention to anything unusual. What may look like just another penny could very well be a coin worth thousands, maybe even millions. Stories of unbelievable finds are not myths. They are real. Coins have changed lives before, and the 1984 penny continues that tradition, offering hope and excitement to collectors and everyday people alike. The Lincoln 1984 1-cent coin is more than money. It's history, its error, its rarity, and its opportunity. It embodies the idea that treasure can be hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right person to recognize it. For some, it has already delivered fortune beyond imagination. For others, the search continues. And for you, maybe, just maybe, that tiny copper-plated coin in your hand is the key to unlocking a $1 million discovery. Imagine holding in your hand a small, ordinary-looking penny from 1989, something you might find in your pocket change or lying forgotten at the bottom of a drawer. What if I told you that one of these simple Lincoln cents could be worth thousands, even millions of dollars? Yes, a single cent, struck in 1989, has the power to transform an ordinary person's life overnight. This is not just about a coin, it's about hidden treasures hiding in plain sight, and the incredible world of rare coin collecting, where mistakes, rarity, and history collide to create unimaginable value. The Lincoln 1-cent coin of 1989 might appear to be just another everyday penny, made of copper-plated zinc with the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front. But beneath that simple design lies a world of secrets. Some coins from this year are not ordinary at all. Certain varieties, errors, and rare mint conditions have turned this small cent into a valuable collector's dream. And while millions of them were produced in both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, only a few carry the unique characteristics that give them their true worth. It is these rare examples that make collectors go wild at auctions, bidding extraordinary sums of money. The 1989 penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which ran from 1959 until 2008. On the obverse, the coin bears the right-facing bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, the same portrait that first appeared in 1909. On the reverse, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparro, a symbol of strength and American history. At first glance, there is nothing particularly unusual about this coin. It looks like billions of others minted during that decade. Yet, hidden among the billions are rare variations and error coins that can bring unbelievable fortunes. One of the most fascinating aspects of coin collecting is the role that mint errors play in creating value. A regular 1989 penny might only be worth its face value or a few cents in higher grades, but a rare mint error can skyrocket its price. Off-center strikes, double die obverse or reverse, die cracks, and misaligned dies are just a few of the types of errors that collectors seek out. These mistakes happen when something goes wrong in the minting process, and instead of being discarded, some of these error coins make it out into circulation. Because of their rarity, these flawed coins become highly prized. For the 1989 Lincoln cent, one of the most famous error varieties is the double die. This happens when the coin die is struck more than once at slightly different angles, creating a doubling effect on the lettering or details of the coin. If you happen to find a 1989 penny with doubling in the words "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or the date itself, you might be looking at a coin worth thousands. Collectors have been known to pay enormous amounts for clean, sharp examples of doubled dies, especially if the coin is in uncirculated condition. Another factor that greatly influences the value of a 1989 penny is its grade. Grading refers to the condition of the coin, ranging from heavily worn, poor to perfect mint state, MS-70. Coins that have never been used in circulation, that retain their original mint luster, and that have no scratches or wear are far more valuable than those that have passed through countless hands. Professional grading services, such as PCGS and NGC, evaluate coins and assign them a grade, and high-grade 1989 pennies can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. In fact, some 1989 Lincoln cents graded at the highest levels, especially in MS-68 or MS-69 condition, have sold for jaw-dropping amounts. Imagine owning a coin that was worth only 1 cent when minted, but today is valued in the tens of thousands, simply because it has been preserved in near-perfect condition. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting. The possibility that a common coin might turn out to be a rare gem worth a fortune. What's more fascinating is that certain special mint sets or proofs from 1989 can also command high value. Proof coins are specially made for collectors, struck with polished dies and on specially prepared planchets, resulting in a sharp, mirror-like finish. While most proof coins are not extremely rare, those with errors or unusual features can become exceptionally valuable. Collectors around the world constantly search for these rare proof errors, hoping to add them to their collections or sell them for life-changing amounts. But perhaps the most thrilling stories come from auction results. There have been instances where a rare 1989 penny with either a unique error or in superb mint state condition has sold for prices far beyond what anyone could have imagined. Some examples have crossed the 5-figure mark, and experts predict that the rarest varieties could one day reach into the millions as demand continues to grow. These stories fuel the dreams of collectors everywhere, pushing them to search through jars of coins, old piggy banks, and pocket change for that one lucky find. The beauty of the Lincoln cent, and especially the 1989 issue, is that it bridges history and possibility. Abraham Lincoln's image represents one of the most iconic figures in American history, a symbol of freedom, leadership, and unity. To think that his image rests on a coin that might change someone's financial future only adds to the mystique. Holding a rare penny is like holding a piece of history and fortune at the same time. For those who are serious about coin collecting or even just starting out, the lesson is clear. Never underestimate the value of a penny. That small coin you pass over every day could be worth far more than you realize. The 1989 Lincoln cent is proof that great value can be hidden in the most ordinary of places. Whether it's an error coin, a high-grade mint state specimen, or a rare proof, the potential is always there. So next time you come across a penny from 1989, don't just toss it aside. Look closely at the date, the details, the shine, and even the smallest imperfections. That tiny coin might be the key to unlocking thousands or even millions of dollars. It could be the coin that transforms your life, the one that connects you to both history and fortune in a single moment. In the world of coin collecting, stories of ordinary people becoming wealthy overnight are not just myths. They're real. Someone, somewhere, pulled a rare penny from circulation and discovered that they were holding a treasure. That treasure could just as easily be in your pocket right now. The 1989 Lincoln cent may look common, but for those who know what to look for, it is a symbol of opportunity, luck, and the chance to turn a single cent into unimaginable wealth.